We used to keep like 7 different cereals in my house, and that was definitely like a thing my parents hated about us. We used to get the Rice Krispies and put sugar on that. Yeah. I don't know why we did that. That was definitely bad.
I'm Hannah Kaiser, and this is the Bandwagon. Last week we did something completely different, and I picked Leicester City to be my Premier League team for the entire EPL season. And look, I'm really trying, you guys. Soccer, woo! But their first 2 games ended in a tie, so we are going back to baseball. And after trying and failing to intuit the rules of offsides, I'm really craving something fully in my comfort zone, which is why this week I'm bandwagoning the Phillies. Yeah! A few weeks ago, we talked about my fervent, relatively recent Giants fandom and how that started the whole bandwagoning experience of the game. But before all of that, back when I was a more loyal baseball fan, my original love was the Phillies. Growing up just outside the city, my family had season tickets to the vet. All my pet lizards were named Lenny Dykstra, which was a much more charming anecdote back then. And my sister and I had a life-size Pat Burrell picture on our shared bedroom wall. And in case you can't understand the appeal of a 6-foot-something poster, here is a photo of Pat the Bat that I probably took on a disposable camera and which has remained in my dad's home office desk drawer since I had a flip phone, and since gelling your dude bro bangs into a canopy for your forehead like that wasn't prohibitive to being considered a sex symbol. The Phillies are going to fall short of expectations this season. They are not going to win the division despite marquee offseason signings, and as of this week, their playoff odds are down to just around 10%, about half of what they were a month ago. So why bandwagon them now? Well, frankly, I have been waiting for them to do something bandwagonable all season, and I am starting to think that it might not get any better than this from last week.
Deep to right field, way up there, and way out. Second up, one-run home run. Grand slam, Bryce Harper. Wow! The Phillies have come from behind to win it 7-5.
Buckle up, sports fans, because we got another dozen years at least of debating whether Bryce Harper is overpaid. But even his detractors have to admit that the soda-swilling Pantene ad hair-flipping cheeseball tryhard has a flair for the dramatic. Yep. It's probably just statistical noise, but if you don't look too closely, Harper has the ability to make you believe that being clutch is a real thing. The truth is, Harper will probably never be the MVP again, and I wouldn't want to live my life under the shadow of my own 16-year-old potential, but after signing him this offseason and mandating that everyone in the tri-state area purchase one of his jerseys, the Phillies are one of the few teams that saw their year-over-year attendance numbers increase in 2019. If the Phillies do snag one of those wild card spots despite a sluggish first 3 quarters of the season, we will probably look back at that Grand Slam as the turning point, which honestly would sort of suck for a sophomore manager moonlighting as a Muscle Magazine model Gabe Kapler, cue the gif of him performatively pantomiming disbelief, because the salami just so happened to coincide with the truly shocking return of Charlie Manuel. The folksy septuagenarian is probably the only World Series manager to return to the same team 6 years into semi-retirement as their hitting coach. And do I really think that a man who advised Jim Thome to point his bat at the ground in the box because that's what the main character of The Natural did will be able to remake a modern lineup? Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, maybe it goddamn worked for Hall of Famer Jim Thome. Welcome back, Charlie. We missed you. Charlie! $330 million merits most of the headlines, but Harper wasn't the only addition that made people think that this was maybe going to be the Phillies' year. They zombie Marlined the best catcher in baseball by trading for JT Realmuto, a StatCast darling who will make you care about caught stealing highlights and start quoting pop times. They are the current and hopefully indefinite home of the best mascot in all professional or amateur sports. Don't even try to come at me about Mr. Met and his foul finger gesture that one time. You want edgy? The Fanatic has only ever been portrayed by 2 people, and he is a strong, specific, well-established personality, and that is of a real asshole who frequently finds himself facing legal repercussions for his aggressive actions. And it doesn't get any more Philly than that. Root for the Phillies, because I want to go home and expend some Scrapple.
No, Philly!
Ooh, I could really go for some Scrapple.
What else could you go for?
Fan, not a fan.
Hey! Unintentional bat flips.
So Anthony Rendon hit a home run, as everybody does, and then he accidentally bat flipped. I think, first of all, he shouldn't say that he accidentally does anything physical on a bat in a baseball field. That feels like a bad thing to put out there as a professional athlete. He's like, oh, I have no control over my limbs and the thing that I'm supposed to have a lot of sort of hand-eye coordination with, it just flew out of my hands. They're like, are you all right, man? You should sit out tomorrow. But it looked super cool. It looked super fly. He's like walking down the first base path, and then he immediately was like, that was an accident. I'm so sorry. That was my bad. and like undermined how cool it was if you accidentally bat flip. Like, have the quickness to play it off like you did it on purpose. Not a fan of his particular accidental, no, not a fan of any accidental bat flips. Only throw heavy objects intentionally.
K-Zone on TV.
Oh, interesting. So now everyone does the queso. It used to be a thing that was only on national broadcasts, and now basically every broadcast. I know everybody's anti-ump right now, but this feels like an egregious undermining of their job. Like, imagine if when you did your job, it was presented to the public with like an underlay of what your bosses thought it should be all the time. Like, and next to every article I wrote was just like an article that was like, anyway, here's what we were hoping she would write. Like, it feels like that, and it's not even that accurate. Like, yes, robot umpires are coming, and they will be better than the K-Zone, but for now, trust the umpires behind the plate. Not a fan.
Hawaii.
Okay, so I went to Hawaii this week.
Ooh. Ow.
I think I went to the wrong island.
Yes. Which one were you on?
I was on the Big Island. Hawaii has a lot of ecosystems and very good poke. More of it looks like the Scottish Highlands than I was anticipating, which is cool. I like the Scottish Highlands, and I like them better when they're not cold. Also goats everywhere. A lot of lava rock. There's gonna be another one, another island in 30 years. Do you know this?
Scoops.
I'm a big fan of the new one. That's a very hipster take. The one that's not there yet, I like. The one that's covered in like Hilton resorts and golf courses, not a fan.
Hot girl summer.
I don't really get it. Is it?
No one does.
Is anyone? Here's the thing. I think that people thought that someone was saying it ironically, and so then you could disrupt the irony by using it to actually share thirst-trappy photos. But no one was using it ironically to begin with, so it's not that funny to like people were like, oh, it's so funny how everyone is saying hot girl summer, so like hot girl summer. And you were like, no, but no one was, there's no patient zero. Not a fan.
Crouching batting stance.
Let's look in the Little League World Series crouch. It makes me viscerally uncomfortable. Here's the thing, I hated it at first because I don't know, is it like he wants to walk? Because that's not good. Come on, kid. Like, just try. Well, I think he only does it before the first pitch, which leads me to believe that he's trying to mess with the pitcher and sort of screw up his understanding of where the strike zone is. And he's 12. Jesus Christ, give him a break, man. He's pitching on like national television as a preteen. He's like in his own head enough. You don't need to crouch down. Not a fan of that. Then Puig did it. I'm back in. Fan. Humble proposal?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. One of the things that I particularly enjoyed about my foray into EPL fandom was Leicester City's pink jerseys, which popped on the pitch and which would be positively revolutionary on a baseball field. It's not just that I happen to find pink aesthetically pleasing and laudably progressive for stereotypically masculine athletes, it's also just nice when a team's uniform actually serves to distinguish the constituents from players on the opposing teams. In other words, when they're not all wearing a variation on red, white, and blue. I know, baseball is so patriotic. But lately, when I turn on the TV, it's tough to tell at first if I'm watching the Indians, or the Braves, or the Red Sox, or the Nationals, or the Twins, or the Rangers. And here's my humble proposal to fix that. Wear some other color combination. Any other color combination. Roy G. Biv, babe, and that doesn't even take into account the different tonal options. Obviously, not all teams have fallen into this trap, but there's a reason that the pastel-y throwbacks and Super 70s colors combos that some clubs are rocking on occasion seem so striking. I mean, people love the old Padres unis, and those are brown and yellow. There is not a high bar for artistry here, folks. Sartorial diversity won't actually do anything to materially impact some of the creeping detriments of the modern game. But also more distinctive team branding would seem to benefit everyone. Next year, Nike takes over the official outfitting of Major League Baseball, and when they meet with team execs in the coming months, I hope that they extol the virtue of a unique color palette. Take it from someone who wears a lot of different hats.
Yeah.
This week, I am bandwagoning the Phillies hard. I very much would like to expense a trip home, eat some Scrabble, put that shit on the corporate card. Not a fan of the Little League World Series kid who crouched down. More of a fan when Puig did it. I had fun in Hawaii. That's the end of the episode.
I think so.